Hello there. If it's 11 a.m. Eastern Time, it's LinkedIn Live, or actually live streaming because it's also streaming on YouTube at the same time. And it's the Hour of Empower. You know, our show today is featured around word of the day, which is mentorship. And so honored to have Angelic with us today, along with Kelle, who's been with us since January, and it's only gotten bigger, better, and more exciting as time has gone on. So instead of aging, it's really ripening. With that said, chat's wide open. We depend on your questions, comments, thoughts to drive our thoughts and be able to really deliver quality takeaways to everyone here so it can justify your time, thought, and effort. So with that, I see Leslie's here already. Thank you, Leslie. Leslie's just prodigious at LinkedIn. She's on almost every Saturday on the show. She has her Friday Think and Grow Rich. She has her Monday Mind Over Matter. She's launching a new course for 12 weeks. So welcome, Leslie, because Angelique's the new person today.
Yeah.
Let's bring Angelic on and really have her share a little bit of her background, what she's into, and what her initial thoughts on mentorship is. Angelic?
Oh, exciting. So thank you. Excited to be on here today. So yeah, I am all about, yes, mentorship is a great word, Leslie. I would have to agree with you. So yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Angelic Marnier, based here in Los Angeles, and I'm all about helping people monetize their genius. I feel like I feel like we all have something we're great at, something we've overcome, something, within us that somebody else could learn from us how to do better, right? So if you've been through a divorce, or if you have a special needs child, or, maybe you've lost a whole lot of weight. I have a client who, overcame, and she's lost like over 100 pounds. Like, we all have something in us. And so there's somebody struggling with that particular issue right here, right now. So why not, get paid for your journey, get paid for the things that you've learned. And so that's what I show people how to do. Take whatever your expertise is. You don't have to be Oprah or Tony Robbins. Just take whatever your zone of genius is. And let's go ahead and monetize that. Let's show other people. Let's package it into an ebook or an e-course and show people step by step how to. And it's a great way for you to make an impact, like how you guys are doing on here, Don and Kelle. Like, you guys are making a big impact, but it's also a way to make money from what you already know. So that's what I help people do day in, day out. And mentorship is the only reason I'm here. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for the mentors that I've had who have helped me along the way in my entrepreneurial journey, because I do have a corporate background. I was in marketing. Some of the studios here in California at Disney and Fox, but I have transitioned now to entrepreneurship. But it took a lot of mentors along the way to help me take those steps. So I'm all for mentorship, and I love to mentor my clients and even people who are not my clients as well, right? So again, honored to be here with such an esteemed colleagues here. I'm like excited this morning.
Well, that's just one of the best entries we've had with enthusiasm, and it really lends itself to empowerment, which is what we're all trying to do in every way that we can. And really, the other aspect of the show is bringing new people like Angelic with new perspectives, new angles, new experiences, because we're all wanting to ask that question, how do you monetize? And it's not just to make money. It's to sustain yourself in what you love doing and what you can do really good at, right? So, because you got to ask yourself, if you weren't here, who could you afford to pay to do what you're doing, and who would do that?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't last, you know what I mean? And if it's all about you, there's too much you in the equation. So with that, before we turn it over to Kelle, Harvey's here. Harvey's got his wonderful show. He just launched the franchise show. I can't not talk about Kelle and Christy's show, The Awesome Journey. I think we've launched 15 to 17 shows since we got on the air, from people who never did a show, and for people that saw how they can do it. And I think that opens up the door to how you can do other things you've never done or thought you could never do. Right? One win might get you the second win a lot faster than the first win. So with that, Christy's here. Christy's just a wonderful lady. She's on Awesome Journey every week. It's a great show. It inspires, but it tells so many heartfelt, sincere stories that is not something for a lot of people easy to do. You know, so the words are the words, but where they come from and how they transfer makes all the difference. And that's why I love live streams, is you could see, feel, and hear the people up close in real time. We've got Dennis here, our resident rhymer. I'm here to learn and how to monetize my genius. Thanks for your generous. You bet. John Rich, what a great name. Yes, give all to the poor for sure. Tanya's here. Tanya's from South Africa. I had a great call with her yesterday, and she's coming on in a week or two. Leslie comes back with question for later. Do mentors get paid, or are teachers paid and mentors pure generosity? Good question. Your chairs look so soft. Well, you don't know. Well, maybe. Leslie Flower says yes and no. Mentor is I am passionate about assisting others. Yes, I have services. However, I never sell. To me, it's paying it forward. And that's your reward in monetizing doesn't have to be in money, right? Monetizing is how do you gain value for the value you give. And if it's someone just gives you a thank you, and that's value. If someone inspires you, if someone makes you better for the experience. So don't be single focused on the dollars, be focused on the values. Yes, and I meant, okay. Harvey comes back. Boy, we may never get back to anybody today. Hey, Original Friday partner. Hope you are well and enjoying the journey, the awesome journey. Dennis, mentorship also helps mentalship and womenship, so we can all stay afloat. You're all the blessed to give because, okay. Dave's here. Dave's coming back. I just talked to Dave the other day. Hi, everyone. Love this word of the day. And then we're there. So Kelly, your turn at bat.
Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. So grateful to be here today on this fabulous Thursday with a great word, mentorship. I think the first thing I thought of when I saw it was, of course, relating it to business and how I managed. I mean, that's how I manage a team, is from a mentorship, empathetic, compassionate approach, in the sense of teaching people to be the best versions of themselves, not being like me demanding what I think they need, or micromanaging, not my jam. But also looking back, and I think this was on a show earlier, either this week or the end of last week, mentorship came up and people were asking, well, how do you get someone to mentor them? I know in my youth, I mean, I look back and I'm like, man, I was so curious and I wasn't afraid to ask a question. And so I had CEOs mentor me because I was asking questions, but I had to be the one that made that happen. They weren't coming to me going, hey, do you want to be mentored? Because you look like you're doing a great job. I was curious enough to ask questions. Now, today's world, I think it's so much different because there's mentorships through, organizations. I mentor an at-risk youth here in Phoenix, which is a totally different type of mentorship, right? But similar in the sense of just being supportive to someone else and being there for them, I think is so important. And again, to go back to business, I just think your curiosity and having the ability now to connect with people on a platform like LinkedIn and be able to ask people questions. There's so many groups out there. There's so many mastermind courses or what have you, where you can get so many great nuggets of knowledge that are priceless. Because we actually, back in the day, we had to be more creative in order to get that, assistance or mentorship, if you will, where I think in today's, world of technology, you have so many ways to get it, whether it's listening to an audio, watching another live. It's incredible on what you can do. So, and having Angelic here today, which I grew up in north of LA. So there's our other connection. Yeah. So much in common. In so many ways. So I'm excited to have you here today. It's so great. And I want to hear what other people have to say in the audience about mentorship.
Yeah. Sounds great, Kelly. Well, we'll switch it back to Angelique, and maybe Leslie's question on do mentors get paid? And I guess
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that's a semantics question too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're so close to each other. What's your thoughts, Angelique?
You know what? I would say, hey, it's all, tomato, tomato to me. Call yourself what you want. You can call yourself a consultant, a coach. I know that there are different nuances for buckets, but I feel like we use them interchangeably. But when I think of mentorship, automatically, I do kind of think it's somebody who kind of takes you under the wing and they don't charge you for it. Typically, I feel like that's what I think of when I think of mentorship. I know when I've kind of like Kelle mentored, underserved and things of that nature, I did not charge them. But I still feel like I'm a mentor for my clients too. Even though they pay me, I still feel like I'm taking them under my wing. I'm coddling them.
Sure.
If they don't know how to do something, I might do it for them. So because I want them to win. So I kind of, I typically, do you get paid as a mentor? Not typically. Typically as a coach or a consultant, I would say you are getting paid. But hey, I don't feel like I'm doing a disservice by saying that I mentor my clients as well.
Yeah. And I think even mentoring staff, because I like same thing. Like I'm like, yes, I was getting a paycheck, but watching some of my staff over, the course of my career, and the ones maybe that were grounded in the fact of like they needed to be nudged, and you have to know when to nudge and then how to nudge, and then watch them achieve something they didn't think they could achieve, and how it changes the trajectory, not just of their career, but truly of their life. Because that confidence build that comes from when you do accomplish something that you didn't think you could do, like there's no greater thing than watching that happen, or to have, an at-risk youth or a youth that you mentor. Because my mentee has asked me, like, why do you do this? You don't even get paid. and I said, but I do. I get paid. It's the greatest gift of what you get from giving and watching someone achieve something, or just feeling in that moment of, love. Thank you for accepting me for who I am, and not judging me. Like you can't put enough zeros on a check to make up for that. So that's my interjection on that, Don.
Well, I think that's beautiful. And, being the employer all my life, and having up to at one time 72 people under one roof, people who believe a paycheck is payment miss the mark. It's what you do in addition. Payment is receipt of your value you just provided. But being a mentor or being an employer is how do you invest in them in more ways to make them better for you. But they have to get better for them to bring the better to you.
Mhm.
That's with right time, open doors, open ears, available time. And you're the one who has to make it, because everybody's, well, I have an open door and anybody wants to talk. Well, how many times are you out there encouraging people?
Yeah.
Did you ever yell out in the warehouse, I got time, anybody want to talk to me? And I think because if they're part of helping you make your dream, you've got to start building a dream for them too, right? Because, I started always with nothing. Always bootstrapped. I borrowed money on a car to get going. It took me a year or two just to turn a profit. I put $4 on eBay with my son and it became a huge enterprise.
Wow.
Well, it's because, when you don't have money, all you have left is yourself and people. And you got to have a vision that people will accept and share, and then go out and make it happen. And I think, why is someone going to do something without getting paid, with maybe a benefit in the future, if you don't give them a piece of the future, right? If you don't involve them in the future, because, no one cares as much about you as they care about them initially. So with that said, let me go back to all these wonderful comments. I think we covered Leslie's comment very well. Maria's here. Always great to see you. Dave comes back with the best mentors are the ones that happen naturally. We've tried to formalize a process in companies so much that it feels forced.
Yeah.
Dennis comes back with call yourself a consultant, not an insultant. That's a good I mentor few, they ask. This is purely heart-centered. I teach many.
Yeah.
Christy comes back with absolutely the gift of giving is priceless.
Yes.
You know, and you should be proud of yourself when you lay your head on your pillow at night
Yeah.
for what you brought to people and why, you know, you left the log pile bigger than you found it. Harvey, who is a great mentor and giver, helps people on Sundays try to get jobs. My repayment for mentorship can be just helping someone. I think mentoring is nurturing. When you're mentoring somebody, you're mentoring yourself in their reflection of your mentorship, right? And you're getting third-party validation, right? That this works. This means something. I have value in this area. And I think to Angelique's point early on, everybody has greatness within.
Yeah.
It's identifying what it is and formatting in a way that allows it to be as pure as possible, because people will feel insecure, try to make accommodations that make them look phony, right? And authentic and trust is where it all starts. Linda's always good for a long one. Good morning all, and great word to join in to realize as our lives are shaped from each transition in our lives, whether family, a teacher, and as an adult, to know many lives can have touched you in the transition to whom you want and can become. And with it available at our fingertips is truly amazing. Just as Don having a great group of people here to share and support, while it can be a group of people offering mentorship to all. Dr. Joanne's here, wonderful lady. Dr. Joanne says there is so much fulfillment when we support others and see them grow and thrive.
Yeah.
And that's why social platforms are so great. It's so easy to put 50, 60 people in a room who are talking, sharing knowledge, and everybody gets something from everybody, and hopefully brings something to the table. Renadeb is here every day, says the same every day. And then he comes in with a comment. Good to see you, Renadeb. Maria, wow. Consulting typically requires a formal approach and mostly involves professional or work-related concerns. Mentoring involves a strong personal mentor-mentee relationship. Having said that, always pay it forward, always make money. None is in business not to make money. So true. Well, Angelique, what's your latest thoughts since all these other thoughts?
Well, hey, I want to make sure we don't put a bad name on making money.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Like I'm all for. I paid it forward, but it's nothing wrong with putting out a service and being rewarded for that with money. Because the more money, the more philanthropy we can do. The better schools your kids can go to, the better healthcare, the more you can put towards the homeless. Like, so I feel sometimes that money and monetizing gets a bad rap. And so I'm here to champion for monetizing, because without it, I wouldn't be able to afford LinkedIn or something like that. I had to have money to have my computer, my smartphone, to do all of the things. So I'm all for, like I said, I'm all for mentoring. I've mentored young girls and people. I mentor my clients, and I've done stuff for free. But there's nothing wrong with getting some money in that pocket. It feels good to get some money in that pocket, and I'm going to champion for it until the day I die.
Well, I think, Angelique, you make a great point, because if you're making money with and for people instead of off of people.
Oh, yeah.
Right, where people are giving you from the profits you allowed them to make. Now it's a win-win. So really quick, because not that many people know you, Angelique, what is your story that got you to where you are?
Great question. So I was like probably a lot of people. I was in corporate America, and I'll be honest with you guys. I transitioned from marketing at the studios, and then I went into doing mortgages at a bank. And so, I pushed my way to the top. I was only working with clients who had $1 million or more at the bank, but the stress level of that is high. I mean, everybody's mad at you. If one thing goes wrong, you're the issue. And to be like totally transparent, I went to a, routine doctor's appointment, and, they take your weight, and then what do? They slap that cuff on you to take your blood pressure, and blood pressure was through the roof in my mid-30s. And really, I had to figure out, I was diagnosed with hypertension. I was put onto a medication I had to take daily. Yeah, guys. So the person you see right now is not the person that I was. I didn't realize I was stressed out. And sometimes they say stress is like a silent one. I didn't know. It was just my day to day. You get in there, you push hard, you compete. but my heart couldn't take that. And so when you talk about mentorship and doing things for free, that's what kind of, I had to get out into the online space, and I did everything for free in the beginning because I had no audience. I had no website. I gave away my services. And once people started creating their courses and they started making money, then I started charging. But in the beginning, my first 10 clients were all free. So I could get their testimonials. So that's my background. That's why I'm so pumped about making money, because you need money. And I'm pumped about showing other people how to make money, because it allows them freedom and flexibility, and it allows them to feel proud, and it allows them to get out of corporate America if that's what they want.
Okay, well, wow, what a story. So, Kelly, everybody comes from somewhere, and wherever you come from allowed you to be who you are today. So it's one connected, let's say, puzzle. To Angelique's point, being on a platform like LinkedIn offers you so much access and freedom that working for yourself is again just working for a lot of other people with yourself, right? Where you're now a colleague instead of a subordinate, right? You're the master of your own ship. So speak to that as far as how mentorship can fit in. Kelly?
Oh, I didn't know you were talking to me. I apologize. I thought you were talking to Angelic.
I wasn't sure. I always think the screen froze.
Right, exactly.
I was just getting ready to be like, is someone going to talk? Because usually it's the opposite. Everybody's trying to say something instead of just sitting there. So yes, awkward silence. We love that. Yeah, I think such a great point about monetization is like, it's a bad word. And it's so crazy because it's like, but no, it's not a bad word. What's the point of doing certain things if you don't have a goal at some point to monetize, or even to be, when you start certain things, and I've known actually several people that have done this, have started a project because they saw a need. And then they were like, I had never had a goal of monetizing, but now that I've been doing it, I'm seeing certain things shift. And I'm learning a lot along the way. And now I'm looking at it as a way of, what do I do to monetize it? And I think that's a thing a lot of people are going through. And I think particularly in the job market, that people are trying to find ways, how can I monetize? And what can I monetize? Because they don't want to be, and this is me personally, I will speak for, I don't want to be shackled to corporate America again. Having 2020 happen and, getting laid off, which I know a ton of people did, and it's still happening, huge layoffs, and you can't get hired full time. And so it's like, well, I don't want to have to count on one thing or one organization to have the ability to control my future. I want to control my financial future. So I think people are looking, and we talked a little bit about this before we came on, is multiple revenue streams.
Yeah.
So not even monetizing on one thing, like what can I do as a set it and forget it? And what can I do, to continue to build, and I get more ideas, and how do I do that? And I guess probably a good way to spin this back to you, Angelic, would be, what are your clients usually when they come to you? What is the process, and like how does that work? Because I guarantee you, there a ton of people are here that are going to hear it today, and will hear it on the replay. Because I think it's such a common question that people have now. Like, what is the process, and how do I do that?
Yeah, great question. I'm so glad you asked that. So a lot of what I do when I'm first starting or onboarding a client is really, we are brainstorming. Like, what are you good at? What do people come to you for questions about? What lights you up? We're really looking at, sometimes people are like, oh, I'm just a mom. I'm like, but you're a great mom. And there's somebody right now who has a newborn, and they're trying to figure out how to be a great mom. Like, you have so much genius. Or people say, oh, I'm just an administrative assistant, but you're the backbone of that company. So you create travel plans, and you coordinate lunches, and you keep people's morale up. Like, so I love to pull from people to take what they already know. A lot of people think, oh, I need to go back and get my certification. No, don't do any of that. Like, what are you good at right now? Especially if you're in corporate, you're getting a check. So you're good at whatever you do. Let's figure out if you're great at team building, or HR, or IT, or accounting, like whatever it is you're good at. That's what I do in the beginning. And a lot of what I'm doing in the background is I'm looking at a bunch of different websites to see what is the need right now in that area, because you can't just say like, I'm doing a course on how to lose weight. Nobody wants that. If I can show you how to lose weight, how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days and fit into your wedding dress. Well, I just carved out a niche for women who need to fit into their wedding dress in the next 10 days. I figured out a pain point, so that's what you have to do. So what I'm doing in the background, I'm looking at these different websites. I'm seeing what the need is for my specific client. And that's the kind of course we want to create. And we also got to figure out who the audience is. So it's great to have a great course. But if you don't have a pain point that you solve or a goal that you get people to, they're not really going to buy it. So that's really how I help people. I help people, like when we sit down in the onboarding, and I do the onboarding myself, I'm just really sitting down. We're pulling everything apart, figuring out what their zone of genius is, figuring out how we can place it into the market. And now we got a juicy topic. We know who our audience is. We can create a great course that plots like every step. And we market it. And that's the biggest thing too. A lot of people have great courses, but if you don't market it, nobody's going to know about your course. Right. So we got to market it.
Yes. And I think too, a point that you brought up there that's so key, because I've seen a lot of clients do this as well, is they really don't know who they think they know who their audience is. And it's shocking how many really don't and are very reluctant to shift. Because it's like, you need to listen to the feedback that's coming in. Your targeting is actually off. Like that is not who it is. And that's where we go back to, we say this a lot, is, any entrepreneur, solopreneur, however you want to label yourself, you've got to be flexible and adaptable to things and not wear your ego on your sleeve, in the sense of like, yes, you see it this way, but your audience doesn't see it that way. Your audience perceives it much different. Or differently. So you've got to be able to adjust to that. So I think that's just
great point.
Such an important thing for most people, is really understanding who their market is. And that a lot of times you're wrong. Like it's
I was. When I first started, I went after corporate women who had a 9-to-5 job. I didn't do so well. When I started talking to entrepreneurs, I did much better. So it's okay to start one place, listen to some feedback, and it's okay to shift. Or people might just start gravitating towards you and you start working with a different group. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, like you said, adaptability, being willing to shift. We all learned that during COVID, to pivot. You don't have to lose those types of things. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, these are wonderful insights because they're experiential insights. Mm-hmm. A lot of people can tell you something they've never done, but they believe it's going to happen. And everybody is in a situation where you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And your audience is whatever your audience has been, if that's what it's been. So instead of changing who they are, change the people in the audience, right? Project in a different area because you've changed, but your audience might not have. And then also, I think Angelic and Kelle make a great point, is some people are the worst judge of themselves, right? Some people marginalize themselves, minimize themselves. And what I love about these shows, but also are challenged by these live streams, is so many people keep thinking, I need more information, I need more knowledge, I need to do this. And if you compare that to the activities, to the go forward, to what are you launching, right? In business, I had to keep launching things because I had bills to pay. When you can afford not to make money, you usually don't. When you've got expenses that you can't work with, right? Like rent or payroll, you've got to find ways to do that. And what happens is you do more and only some of it works. But you never know what sum is going to work. And you have 10 things going and 3 winners. I mean, just like venture capital. I mean, they invest in 10 things. They're looking for 1 home run, 4 singles, another 6 get swept under the rug. And that's enough to make the next 10 possible. So if you haven't, the best thing to do is get with someone who has.
Yeah.
Right? And then ask a specific question.
Yeah.
Right. Don't say, hey, will you talk to me? But if you say, hey, I've got a specific issue and this is it, can we talk about it? Well, at least it shows you're prepared. At least you show it's not going to be forever. Yeah. And I think that's what all of us can help each other, because whatever you've done yesterday doesn't mean anything unless you can repeat it tomorrow. So if you're starting at 0 today, everybody's starting at 0 today.
Yeah.
Some people have momentum, some people have success. And the thing is if you just qualified as I'll learn before I earn, you know, I'll invest before I receive. I mean, that's the natural progression. So, you know, allow laws of nature, things that happen to you every day as being your, let's say, foundation. And at what point is today going to be the day for you? You know, tomorrow never comes, but I know one thing that comes is a lot of comments. So
I like that transition.
let's go to Leslie. Karma is most often rewarded from unexpected sources. You know, enjoy the life of serendipity, of mystery, of you know, intrigue. You know, I don't want to know what's happening tomorrow. Take all the fun away from it. Danny says, I really enjoy the friction with my mentor. They think differently to me, which challenges my own thoughts, processes, and holds me to account for my limiting beliefs. So true. You know, here we go with Maria, I believe. Exactly. Money needs to keep flowing. Money is good in good people's hands, and it's bad in bad people's hands, right? It makes good people better and bad people worse. Keep up the good work, you beautiful person. Thank you, John, to Christy. Tanya says you can't sustain your message without money. Love it. Me and Tanya were talking about that yesterday, actually. Money is a beautiful thing. Too much BS around being ashamed of making money. I'm from New York, work with investment bankers. Money is a good thing. It should not be the only drive. You're right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's necessary. It's not a choice. Agree. Testimonials do help you pass the puzzle test. Maria's right into monetizing. You can monetize just about anything as long as it adds value to the recipient. Not selling cans of beer, which are on the market. Dennis, I agree. Asking questions is important. If you don't, you are in the know, not the know. Harvey, Kelle, multi-tiered residual income streams are where it's at.
Yes.
And the residual part nailed, you free up the time to be able to help people for free.
Yes.
And it is a time and a money game.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing with your time? What is it receiving? And if it's not immediate, it should be something in the future that looks like it could be. Agree, and it just helps put you on the A team. Well, wow, a lot of comments there. I need to turn over to Angelic just to catch my breath. So Angelic, take it from here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that people, you know, at least, you know, some of the people also agreed, like, hey, that money is a good thing. It's a tool. It is a blessing to have.
We
So
need it.
yeah, we need it. Like I said, in order to do things, we live in a capitalistic society. So do have to have money. And again, nothing wrong with being rewarded. Pretty cool also that people felt like testimonials were a good thing, because testimonials will validate proof of concept, right? So a lot of times people don't want to be the first client to work with you, but if you can show that other people have worked with you and that those other people have gotten a result, it is a great way to get other people to want to work with you as well. Again, that's what I did in the beginning. I gave away and I helped people create courses for free in exchange for a testimonial. Then I was able to put those onto my social media, and things begin to change because people started to see, oh, Angelic does know what she's doing. Oh, she helped this person they had a $10,000 launch, or this person had a $5,500 launch. Like once they started seeing that, they're like, oh, okay, that's who I want to work with. So definitely don't be afraid. Yeah, don't be humble. Don't be too humble to put up your testimonials. Throw them out there. Nothing wrong with that.
And I think, you know, to your point also about doing that for free in the beginning, and then creating, because it helps us figure it out too, because we may in our own mind think like this is how it's going to work, but and man, I've talked about this I don't know how many thousands of times, is when you whiteboard or do anything like this is what this campaign is going to look like, until you put it into action. You're shocked at how many times that you miss the most like basic thing, and you're like, oh my God, how did we miss that?
Right.
But putting it in real life motion, and then knowing like, oh, you know what, we really need to add this here, or I need to hone in on this. Like it's a learning experience for you to give away stuff, or do something for free. And that's how I look at it. It's like, well, we're learning so that we can become the best version of ourselves. Got a great concept, great idea, but I also need to hone in on what that looks like and continue to evolve, you know, flexibility and adaptability over time. And I think it's always great to give away things or pay it forward. And then I think when we're saying giving things away and paying it forward, they're kind of not really the same thing, in my opinion, because paying it forward is you're just wanting to help as many people as you can for whatever reason. I'm paying it forward because I've been there. I want to help someone speed up to get to this process or to get through this process faster.
Right.
And giving away items, I think for anyone, you've got to be able to do that. Like, let me see the value of your thing. So I want to know more. That is why people give away ebooks and all of those things, because it's to give you a taste of what they have and be like, you know what, I want to check this out now. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's super common. And then, the other side of that is, I say this so often, is stopping the pitch slap. Like, we hate being sold. There's nothing worse. And because in logic, and then this is probably a thing that you could talk to great for the audience as well, is people can tend to be like, hey, here's my thing. It's so great. It does this, and like all the logical, statistical stuff that we don't care about. Like, that's not what the end user cares about. They need to feel something about your product or your brand. It has nothing to do with all the logic of what stands behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you really look at it, there is some middle ground, and that is beta pricing, right? So, because here's the thing about charging. And it's like playing cards for toothpicks. No one cares, right? If you make it for a nickel or a dime, right, there's a prize. And what happens is, if someone makes that commitment of paying something, they made that investment in themselves, and hopefully they want to do what they can to get it back. So it's not just give me what you got, and if it works, great. On the other side, you're working so hard to make it, to Angelique's point, a success, so you can use it as a case study or a testimonial. And the person knows that, hey.
Oh, bye, Dawn. Wow, that just
interesting.
Happened.
Okay.
He'll be back, I'm sure, in a minute, which is hilarious. But so that's another great thing that came to mind when you were talking before too, is pricing. Because I think people get so stuck and also can be a little bit too into their thing or their service, whatever it is, because their widget has more value to them because they put the blood, sweat, and tears in it, as opposed to what the market demand actually is.
Yeah, totally. We all get caught up in pricing. We just kind of kept going.
Yeah, great, because all of a sudden it said, "I'll snap," and I was out. So that's a newbie on me. But that's the fun of live, and it's also the beauty of having wonderful co-hosts who any one of us could carry the show, let alone three of us. So proceed. I'm sorry for.
Yeah, we were just talking about just pricing. And everybody, like, a lot of times when my clients are like, well, what can I price? Like, I can't tell you exactly what to price because this is your baby. It's like me naming your child. No, you know your child better than I do, and you have the value. I can look into the market. I can kind of see what other things in that same realm are priced at. But you don't want to be the cheapest. I'll tell you that. You don't want to be the cheapest one. And you want people to feel like, hey, it's a difference between this one and this one. This one's priced a little bit higher. I think there's something more in that one. I'm going to buy that one. Like, you don't want to just give away the whole farm, as they would say, so don't be the cheapest unless that's what you want to do. I don't coach my clients to be the cheapest. I do look at the market, see what else is out there, and we want to be competitive. But it's nothing wrong with charging for your value. If you feel that if everybody else is charging, $497 and you feel yours is $997, go for it. It's nothing wrong with that. You place the value on it. And as long as you can say that with pride. Now, if you say, well, it's kind of like it costs $997, nobody's going to buy it. Nobody. But if you say, you know what, this is actually, it's $997, but really it should be $2,500. I'm giving you guys a discount and it's power packed. I put my blood, sweat, and tears. So if you buy it, you buy it. If you don't, you don't. But this is what people are going to buy it. But if you have no confidence in it, and that's why I can't tell people where to price, because if you have no confidence in your pricing, nobody's going to buy from you. So what I oftentimes will coach my clients on is, hey, if you don't feel good at $997, do $4.97, and every time you get 10 sales, bump up your price, because now you got a little more confidence and a
Yeah.
little more confidence and a little more confidence, and you're okay with bumping your price up, and it's worth more too, because you probably have learned a little bit more and tooled it. To your point, Kelle, you've tweaked it along the way and made it more valuable. So there's nothing wrong with charging a little bit more.
Yeah, agreed. And I think there's it's the perception of value, right? Because like you were saying, just because you're the lowest price does not mean you're going to make the most, because we tend to, as consumers, if we see, as an example, two people offering the same exact course on LinkedIn, whatever it is, and one's offering it for $47 and the other one is at $179, we interpret the $179 as being more valuable because that person knows more. That's what's happening in our brain. We're not going, "Ooh, I can get the same course for $47. We start questioning about the value of the person or that course. And it's just something that happens, which is interesting. And, discounting is always something to do, because we like to know, oh, this is a $2,500 course that they're offering now for a limited time at $997. That's why infomercials work, people, because it's the of we think that we're getting a value in a short period of time. That time urgency, it just makes humans do things. So the whole process is fascinating, but you're right. You've got to believe in it, because if you're not confident behind it, it comes across, and people, your audience always knows. And so the reason you're not selling is because there's something going on the other side. Because again, I always go back to the thing of, people aren't buying your widget or your thing or your service. They're buying you. Because generally there's probably thousands of people that do the same thing that you do. Yeah. And like, why do you pick someone? Why do you pick a specific wealth manager as an example? You pick someone that you gel with, not necessarily the one that your neighbor told you was the best that they've ever known.
Right.
Meet them and you don't get a good vibe from them, you're going to somebody else, because you need to have that connection and that feeling, that emotion that makes you go, I trust this person with my money.
Yep.
Well, when you look at it too, there's more than what meets the eye. So a lot of times if I'm working or talking with someone, I'm looking at the future, right? I'm trying not to be transactional. So it's like, who is this person? Where are they? What are they doing? And what kind of opportunities could there be down the line? Plus, how much better will I be for time spent with them? And if they're a wonderful person and doing great things, there's a lot of knowledge I'm going to be getting from them, right? They may be paying and I might be providing, but during that point, I'll be growing. And maybe that's part of the pricing decision, right? Because of this and because of this potential, because everybody wants something for free if they can get it. Right. And LinkedIn encourages that, because everything's a sample, a workshop, a 10 minutes, a 15-minute free consultation. And people are eating their meals like they're at Costco picking up samples. Right. And they're surviving on them and they're not paying anything, but they don't realize it's not fulfilling. It's not the meal they'd love to have. And all of a sudden they've lowered their level of expectation based on their level of investment, which in most cases, they're really fearing losing than, looking forward to winning, right? So how do I don't lose instead of how do I start winning?
Yeah.
So a lot of times, and at a certain level, and if you're dealing with large people doing large things, they're good at being professional about it. They understand value. They understand need. But you've got to be able to justify things at a certain point. Right? I'm doing this because of this. So make them aware of what you're doing it for also. And here's what it could mean for us. So really it's a matter of, I just want to get started. Here's what I thought is a tremendous value. And I think to Angelique's point, I'm more than happy to go through it with you.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you look at an outline sheet, 2 hours of consulting, 2 hours of this, 3 hours of this, boom, boom, boom. Oh, it's 8 hours, and people naturally divide it by the money, and they figure, well, it's $200 an hour, 150, and that's totally wrong. Unless that's all you give them to analyze. But if you say, I'm going to be putting so much effort, like Angelique says, into doing things you'll never see for you, that you'll never see the hours I put in. I mean, you can't talk to somebody for 2 hours a month and consult without spending a couple more hours a month just thinking about what you're doing, what you just did, what you're coming back at. So visual hours is not total hours. And what you're willing to do. And once they say that, then it's not, wow, I got a great price, but I got a great person who needs to make this successful for themselves to be able to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so just like this show, you can't charge people to get on, you know, before they've been on. And when me and Kelle started, there was just, let's do a show. It's like those movies.
We just went live. There wasn't even a word.
Wow.
And then you start, and that's the thing. You mentor yourself by doing things. And a lot of times it's so much easier with someone else. Because it gets lonely if you're by yourself, because that's all you're with. When you're with somebody else, they're going to have a good day and make your day better, and vice versa. So let me cover some more comments. My thoughts: mentoring produces and shapes great leaders, allow current leaders to be more effective in their own jobs. It teaches them how to interact with their team members, how to properly lead, empathize with colleagues, be a mentor. You know, it has so much value. But again, people are like, well, when I get paid, I'll pay somebody. You know, when something happens to me, I'll make it happen for somebody else. Well, those are independent things. What's coming to you is going to come to you in its own good time. What you do to attract it. And why not get practice? If no one wants to pay you, then allow your talents to go to someone who deserves it, who can pay you, and you'll get more practice. And it's like a sparring partner. Tanya says you've also got to know what the value is to your client. What's worth and what's the cost of the problem. So true.
Yeah,
and that's where, like what Angelic has said, having a brainstorming, throwing it out on the table. Why assume anything for anybody? Because I know one thing, some people have talents they have no interest in. Right? They're so good at something, but they hate doing it after a while. You know, or they're good, but it's not a passion. Where when you can get passionate about something, whether you're moving a course, a speech, that's an intangible that really pays well. Moment of membership can lead to a lifetime of impact. Mentorship, you know, it's great. So Angelic, this is already 47 minutes in and we're just catching our breath.
I know, right? I love it though. I love the energy. I love the interaction with everybody on here. Like it's such a high vibe. It's a good way. Again, I'm on the West Coast, so it's a good way to start the day. Like I'm on a high right now.
Well, you know, that's great because I think you can carry the same vibe wherever you go. And 90% of the people are greater here every day of the week. So everybody is being here in a way for everybody else. And it makes it so much easier to bring wonderful guests on when they have a tailwind, when they have something pushing them forward and not creating resistance like a headwind. So, you know, we started with mentorship, but we just can't get away from monetization. But
you have to mentor to monetize, right? I mean, we need mentorship on monetization.
Yes.
Well, maybe mentorship is the stair step to monetization. What do you think?
That's a good point. Could be. Definitely could be. I think we've all done that. We've all mentored, and then whatever field that was in, we started making money. So, hey, I've had internships and things of that nature where I was getting paid, but I got to learn how-tos. And then once I learned that skill set, I was able to monetize. So, and I was the mentee. I wasn't even the mentor, but somebody mentored me, and I got to eventually monetize. So, hey, mentorship, monetization, I see there's a combination there.
Yeah, I agree. And I have one of my I don't want to say old mentees. She has grown with 2 children now. But same, I worked with her and we're still in contact all the time. She's got a successful coaching business now. She's crushing it. And it is one of those things. And she'll, you know, she gave me some credit for that. And I'm like, I didn't do the work, you did. I just, to mentor, and I think there's a fine line because I've had other mentees that were like, well, I want you to help me with my marketing or my business plan. And they wanted me to do it. And I'm like, well, I don't do it. Like, I'll coach you through it and you need to do the work. because if you don't understand how to do it, you're not going to be, I mean, that's the whole point, is for you to understand it. And she particularly, like, she, every week when we would meet, because she was never late, and she always did more than what I asked her to do for her
Nice.
homework. And when she couldn't do her homework, you know, because she's a mom of two, and a wife, and she was working 2 jobs so that she could build this coaching
Jeez.
business. Yeah, she's amazing. And if she was ever, you know, late, or like I wasn't able to get to my homework, and I'm like, girl, it's okay, it's going to be there tomorrow. Like we've got it. Like we'll just adjust our timeline. No big deal.
Okay.
You know, and allowing yourself grace in that too. I think that's a big deal. And she, because we would meet on Mondays, and on Friday, if she knew she wasn't going to have the work done for Monday, she would be like nervous about it or freaking out about it all weekend. Like, oh, I don't want to meet with Kelle on Monday and not have my stuff done.
Wow.
And so I finally told her, girl, forgive yourself when Friday arrives. You spend your time with your family on the weekend, and we'll start where we're at on Monday. Like, I'm never going to be upset or angry with you. Like, that's not my place. And so don't you be angry with yourself.
Right.
Some grace. But any movement forward, you know, is so huge in all of these things. You know, we're all still learning. I'm still learning. I had no idea what we were going to do with this when I started this. And Dawn, today is actually my 10th anniversary.
Well, congratulations. It seems like it's only been a few months, because, and this is every week, and multiple times in a week, plus all the time spent outside discussing strategy or feedback. So, you know, we actually have the building blocks.
Yeah.
Really worked hard at understanding the nuances, the facets of it, the dimensions of it, so we can actually be articulate about it. And also shows, right? I mean, I've got 500 of these shows on YouTube right now.
Wow.
And you know, it only gets better. And as better, it attracts people like Angelic. You know, Bob Berg was here last week, which was a great opportunity. I'm talking again with Christopher Salem. If you don't know him, I mean, he talks to 15,000 people at a time, and has got a podcast with 30,000 viewers every week. And a second one he started with 8,000. And he loves what we're doing, and we're talking about how we can work closer together. So, you know, when people see what they haven't seen in a while, but more importantly, feel what they haven't felt in a while, that's how you distinguish and differentiate yourself, because no one's going to cut their nose to spite their face, right? No one's going to hurt something when it could help them. And I think also what people have that they don't understand or appreciate is their network of being a super connector, right? You know, if someone comes with me or me and Kelle or whoever, they're getting access, right? You're having the ability to say, hey, I know someone who does coursework like Todd DeWitt, has 44 courses. I mean, unbelievable. He retired at 42. Now he's 52, spent 10 years in LinkedIn learning. And you know, just knowing people who do speeches, who create courses, who do more and more, what I'm seeing a need for is getting off the road, getting out of one-on-one to be able to leverage time in groups, right? Where now it becomes far more cost effective to bring 100 people in at $50 a person than to get one person at $1,000 an hour, right? And it's your time, because, you know, I've discussed with people, well, yeah, you picked up $10,000 on a speaking fee, which is great. You took 2 days. One day to fly out, one day to do it. Coming back, that's 48 hours you can divide. How many podcasts or how many live streams or how many classes could you do? So I think everybody's starting to appreciate the value of what we're sitting on. Right?
Yeah, I think we all are. The fact that we can be here all in different places. You know, Kelle, you're in one place, Don, we're all in different places, but we can come together and chit chat and then go about our day, have the rest of our day. But the fact of the matter is that this will continue to replay. That's what I like. Like, I like that these things can be repurposed. Like, that's the beauty of doing things online, is that people, especially with courses, people can learn in their own time. Like they no
Yes.
longer have to go to a brick and mortar, to a university or to an adjunct or to a night class. They can do it while they're at their, at their kids' recital. They can do it, whenever they want to. So it allows them that freedom and flexibility. And to your point, Dan, like that's a beautiful thing. Like you can still interact with your spouse or your kids, but still be also getting to another transformation in your life, all with the power of watching something on a phone. So to me, that's where the future is. That's why I'm excited to be in this particular industry, because it's just continuing to thrive. Like I think right now courses and ebook, all that digital is doing about $1 billion a day. So again, when I say monetize your genius, people are spending $1 billion every single day to level up, to get online and learn how to do something. So for those people who are watching, if you're trying to figure out how to scale or how to create another stream of income, how to get some freedom and flexibility in your life, think about getting into the digital space, because there's a lot of money. That the proof of concept is already there. If $1 billion is being spent every day, proof of concept is there. There's money to be made. It's just we got to go get it.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, because I've been an entrepreneur and companies, and there's an extra special feeling of getting paid for what you do, right? I mean, if you turned it around and someone gave you a position and never paid you, right, but expected you to come to work every day and work hard and think about the company when you went home, it'd be impossible. But you do that to yourself because you can. And because now you say, well, I'm not ready yet. I'm not this. Well, I think to Angelique's point, go see who's doing courses.
Yeah.
Take a sample, right? And see how good it is and how good you could be relative to that. And all you got to do is be a little bit of something big.
Huh?
Too many people are looking to conquer the world or do something like get a niche. There's a saying, niches are riches, especially on social media, because it allows people to know what you're not also, right? If you just had a restaurant that serves whatever you want, nobody would understand what kind of restaurant it is. But if it's like, hey, we have a buffet and that's it, then buffet people will be attracted, and people want fine dining probably won't, but you don't want those people to come in, say, let me look at your menu. Oh, it's not what I want.
Right.
You could save them from having to come in and look at your menu. And I think the last piece, and we say it all the time, if you can't do it, could we do it? Mm-hmm. Right? If you're 80% of the way home and you just can't get that other 20, can a Kelle, can an Angelic, can a Christy or Maria help you? Because you do have validation by being able to say, we're in the same community and you know me. Yeah. Right? It's easier for Maria to reach out to Kelle and say, hey, I've been watching you for 3 months. Right. I have a question. You're going to get time to be heard, because if you can't be heard outside of it, you're not respected inside of it. Right? If you're not invited to the table, then you're going to go to somewhere you will. And the question is, who wants to be part of something that is cliquish, that is elite, that is, not inclusive? And I think you have to reflect who you are by how you are, right? Yeah. How you show up, how you service, how responsive you are. I know when I send invitations, if it takes 6 days to respond, I know I'm not important. The scene, you can't help but look at your messages on LinkedIn and see you don't get that many. If you got 15, 20 a day, and it took that long, or someone says, okay, let's make a time in January to talk. I'm like, forget about it. I'm not ready for that. Right? Right. So we're coming up on the finish line here. Yeah. Angelic, why don't you share final thoughts? I'll turn it over to Kelle. I know mentorship was something, but more importantly, this was your first opportunity at this type of show. I'd love to hear and share with the audience what your takeaway is.
Man, like I said, this was the highlight. I feel like I'm ready to run a marathon now. You guys got me hyped up for the day. I'm pretty high energy, but this was a great way just to get the day started. So I'm glad we talked about mentorship. I'm glad we talked about money. I'm glad I got to learn more about what you guys, your background, what you guys are doing. So I'm just excited. I'm excited. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your platform, though, because you're taking a risk. You didn't know what I was going to say, what I was going to do.
Well, we talked twice, so that helped.
We did. But I can come on here and day 7 and say something really crazy and give you like,
you'd always be remembered for that. I'll say that.
Yes, it's a true story.
I'll always be remembered, Angelic. So Kelle, what's your thoughts? This was your first time with Angelic, first time with mentorship, and this great audience.
I mean, you know me, I love her because of her energy. It's amazing. And so grateful to have you and would love to have you back sometime. And just want to encourage everyone in the audience to be sure to connect with Angelic. And if you have any questions, DM her. I mean, that's what we're here for. We always say we're not on this side of the screen because we're private people. And that's what the point is of LinkedIn. And always a fun conversation. You are a delight, Angelic. Enjoyed every minute of it. Your energy is so infectious.
Oh, good.
And I do. And this used to be something I said all the time on this show. It's like, I challenge anyone to come and not leave feeling better than you did when you arrived. Because it's impossible. And as I always end, and I will say to everyone, go out and shine so bright that others can't help but shine too.
Well, you know, the guests like yourself make this the best hour of my day. And I'm so grateful for people making that investment of time, of thought, of interest, and not just sharing what they feel, but having other people feel it without having to experience it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's important, I think, as mentorship is saving some people the challenges, but also give them the awareness of context, because some people don't give themselves enough credit, enough time, enough thought, enough availability and to other people. And it's all there for you. And, you know, all you can do is try it.
Yep. I love that.
Put your toe in the water and maybe you'll put your foot in tomorrow. And after a while, you'll be swimming. So with that said, I know everybody's got a busy day. Thank you all for joining us. Come back tomorrow. And tomorrow is Friday. So let me just share with you who we have tomorrow. And well, I won't right now. We're over time. Check it out.
Thank you guys. I will see you guys soon. Thank you again.
Take care. Bye-bye.